All right, I saw this guy in my recommended. Tal Rodkey. He had some nice titles and thumbnails, and he says, "Is skateboarding different around the world?" And I see he goes to Australia, he goes to New Zealand, and California. So I feel like I might have some interesting input to see what his opinions are. I feel like skating absolutely is different around the world. And let's hear what he has to say.
As a skateboarder, I've been blessed to grow up in New York City. A central hub for skateboarding. We've got plenty of skate parks, a bunch of crusty street spots, and skate park locals that might fight you for waxing the ledge. Even though a lot of my friends come from skateboarding in New York City, the environment when I was growing up felt a little bit hostile and standoffish. Given my upbringing and my curiosity, I can't help but think, hey, is skateboarding like this everywhere in the world?
Damn, look at this. Look at this production value out the gate. Hitting the famous street spot mid-delivering vlog lines.
I can't help but think, hey, is skateboarding like this?
That's high level. I've never seen that before, to be honest.
I can't help but think, hey, is skateboarding like this everywhere in the world?
Like at a famous spot?
So I decided to answer the question for myself by traveling to Australia, Vietnam, Thailand, New Zealand, Canada, and a handful of states across the US to answer the question, is skateboarding different across the world? I evaluate each of these places.
So like, I think this is a really good video, but like I mean, I guess he did get me to click, but it's obvious. It's never going to be no. It's always going to be yes, right? Like the answer's always going to be yes. But I feel like he did a really good job with this
based on
already.
the stuff they have to skate, the local skaters, and the general vibe of the place. But before we get into this, I have to give a disclaimer that all this stuff is my personal experience and my personal opinion that may be vastly different from that of everyone else's. If I ever say something that's wrong, ignorant, or stupid, please feel free to tell me in the comments. But that being said, I'll see you guys in Australia. We are in Melbourne, Australia, and what
So I skated, I didn't stream at this park, but this is actually, I used to go to this skate park when I was a little kid, and then they fully demolished it and rebuilt it as this new park. I posted an Instagram reel there when I was here most recently.
you see behind me is a multi-million-dollar skate park, but it didn't always look like this.
Multi-million-dollar?
Back in the day, this park looked very, very different. It was a
Yeah,
little
this is
more
what I remember.
run down and rugged. What I was told by the locals is that before the park got renovated, it was a pretty iconic park, and the renovation, the locals didn't even really want to happen. Some notable skaters whose local park was the Pran skate park before the renovation, Shane O'Neill, Lewis Marnell, among a couple other names. And this was really the iconic skate park in Melbourne, which this is my second time in Australia, and I hadn't been to the park before it got renovated, but I had been to Riverside Skate Park, which is in Melbourne City. We're about 30 minutes outside of the city right now. And I thought that was really the core park in Australia, but after...
Not really 30 minutes outside of the city. Like, this is still kind of like the inner city skate park. But it's like, I guess you could say it's a little bit out of the city.
Speaking to the locals the other day, I think this is actually the place to be. And I'm pretty sure this was the first...
This skate park is right near where I went to film school university. Paran is what it's called.
First public skate park in Victoria, which is the state that Melbourne is in. What you see on the ground might confuse you, but these tiles here, the sound you get as you're rolling around on these bricks is meant to replicate Melbourne City. I'm not sure this is 100% factual, but I was told that this exact marble was imported from China, and the marble itself cost $400,000 to install. So Hamish, who is behind the camera, came here in 2017, I think, and the only thing that they kept in this skate park was the rail. This is really the iconic piece of the park right here. Let's see if I can do front 50 first try, and we're gonna see if we can get some other clips and see what the locals think about the renovation.
Given our little history lesson, I hope I was able to properly contextualize why Pran Skate Park is so special to the Australian skate community and why a bunch of the local skaters in Melbourne are choosing to come here on their Friday evening. The lads that can nollie croak like they're playing Skate 3 are Woody and Viv, obviously some very seasoned skateboarders, and I was pretty surprised at how friendly and receptive they were when some random American kid asked if he could film them for his YouTube video. But hey, the vibes were rolling and these guys were just killing it. This is crazy.
That shows the time change. If you said the word YouTube back in the day, not that down. Not that cool. But this guy seems chill. I'll show you my clips that I got here, because I only went here on my most recent trip, because this renovation is
pretty
new.
much told me everything I just told all of you about the history of Pran Skate Park. He was also generous enough to offer me ice cold beers and smoke, and that was really sick, because that's just not the hospitality I'm used to observing at LES Skate Park back home.
Yo.
This guy who's about to do a back crook is James. I borrowed some of his footage of the old Pran Skate Park at the beginning.
Yeah, this guy is super popular in Melbourne skate scene. He kind of was friends with Shane O'Neill and sort of like went along for the ride with Shane O'Neill. So he would always film Shane O'Neill's video parts and stuff. So it was cool to see like him and Shane kind of like blow up in full on skating rather than just kind of staying
beginning
to
of this
Melbourne.
video,
He does
and
mix
it turns
videos
out
for
he's
Thrasher
actually
and
a
stuff.
pretty renowned skate filmer and kind of Shane O'Neill's main man when it comes to filming. I thought it was pretty cool he let me film this clip of him.
Perfect.
I had a great time filming, skating, and learning about Melbourne skate culture here, and as it was nearing the time for me to leave, I had to swallow my pride a little bit and see if Viv was down to do an interview. To my luck, he was up for the interview, so let's see how he got into skating and what he thinks of the park's renovation.
I'm here at
I think I know this guy.
Brand Skate Park with one of the many local shredders, Viv.
This is I try not to keep pausing it. This is super Australian beer as well. Mountain Goat, like random. I can't remember what type of beer.
How long have you been skating, and why did you start skating?
I've been skating for 26 years. I'm 39 this year. I started skating because my friends, they were all like, we're just kicking around, like just chilling at these spots. Like they were kind of perfect skate spots, but we were just like loitering. And my friend was like, hey, like we should get skateboards. I heard if you like bounce on the kicks enough, you can like do this thing called an ollie. You get off the ground. And I'm like, cool. So we started bumming hills, and we all fell off and like completely grazed ourselves up, and we were committed from that point onward.
Hell yeah, that's raw. That's true skateboarding right there. You skated the park before and after it was remodeled. I heard the remodel was a little bit controversial. How did you feel about it?
It was so rough, but yeah, it was like, it's close to all our hearts, you know what I mean? But they, you know, they answered our call, and they like took a few heritage pieces and like either remodeled them, or like they put the old rail back in a different spot. So like, you know, they kind of kept it like past and present, and so I'm happy. They got this beautiful Melbourne city tile bluestone. It's good. Yeah.
Hell yeah. How would you describe the Melbourne skate scene, or the local scene at the skate parks in general? Or
Well, growing up, the Melbourne scene was like super cliquey.
Damn, he said that. I wasn't sure if he was going to say that. That's what I was about to say. If he said only positive things, I was about to say it's extremely cliquey. If like the cool kids club was the cool kids club, and if you weren't in the cool kids club, then you're just like whack or whatever. So yeah, and it was a little bit even standoffish. If you like see them at the spot, they like maybe they just won't even say hi to you, and they just keep doing their own thing or whatever, you know.
So it was intimidating, you know, like we really were scared of like the older guys, and it took a long time to like really kind of like push through. But nowadays, like especially around Paran, everyone's like so inclusive, and everybody's like, the kids are just fearless, and I love it. Like it's evolving, and it's growing into something like completely new, and yeah, it's just like really fun.
yeah, that's awesome. In New York City, I feel like a lot of the skateboarders at your level are a little more intimidating and hard to approach at the skate park. So it's really cool. You and all the guys here have been super
gassing him
friendly
up.
to me, even though I'm a foreigner here.
I think it pumps through the lifeblood of Paran, so yeah.
Hell yeah. And last two questions: if you have a favorite trick and a trick you think is illegal.
Favorite trick, probably Vero hill flips, because I can't do them. You know how it goes.
I bet you could do them though.
I can let him.
His favorite trick is a trick he can't even do. I don't know if I back that. Illegal trick is strawberry milkshake.
Game escape maybe.
Yeah. So you can do them.
Illegal, I'll say like switch Vero hill flips, because I can do them way too good, and I'm jealous of Vero hill flips.
All right, good answers. Hey, thanks so much, Viv.
yeah.
I appreciate it, bro.
A huge shout out to all of the homies at Paran Skate Park, especially Viv for such an insightful interview. I've skated in a lot of other places in Australia besides Melbourne and Paran Skate Park, and not to generalize too much, but the hospitality and friendliness is something I've observed more or less around Australia as a whole. But it's time to leave Australia, catch a quick flight to Vietnam.
Alright, you want to see me skate that park real quick? Yeah, so I skate the old rail. I used to do blunts on it. A couple quick blunts. Then this was my childhood friend from high school, and I haven't seen him in a long time, so it was cool to see him still skating. And this was the old park. I thought I was so slick for that. 5-0 to switch Kirk. Boom. Oh yeah, and I got smoked on this. Boom. This is the old park too. I thought that was fun. Oh yeah, the tents there. And that was my friend. So look how young we are. World Industries represent.
A massage, and a bite of food with my older sibling before we hit the second stop on our tour.
For the first stop of our international tour, we are in Vietnam. I'm in Ho Chi Minh City right now. Behind me is Go Station Space. What Google is telling me is the first public skate park built in Vietnam. We're gonna get a sesh and try and see what some of the locals think. Let's go.
For people that grew up without a skate park, a lot of these guys were really good and really stylish. And let me tell you all, if you're ever in a foreign country and want to make new friends, especially as a skateboarder, all you have to do is go to the skate park and start talking to people, because, at least in my experience, that's been pretty foolproof.
Honestly, I love parks like this. Big open space, ledge, rail, Up and down, ledge, down, kick a gap. You don't need anything else. Maybe some kind of drop stair thing, and then we're good.
Although I
Doesn't
don't
need to
have
be
any
too
clips on my
complicated. Yeah, we
phone,
got a
something I
three-step.
did notice while I was there is that there's a really strong community of women that skateboard in Ho Chi Minh City. I want to say almost more so than anywhere else I've lived or traveled, and that's something you love to see. Also, that's not to say that there aren't women that skateboard or strong communities of women that skateboard across the world, but I do recognize that it can be really tough to be a woman at the skate park or in skateboarding in general. I reached out to all these skaters to make sure it was cool I used their footage, so make sure you give them all a follow because they're ripping over there. Anyways, back at the Ghost Station space, the homie Bon was killing it. I've never seen this trick with my own eyes before.
Damn. Casual heel flip back tail. That is hard.
Bro,
That ledge
are
is a
you
little bit
kidding
high
me?
too.
Yo, bro, I never seen anyone do that in my life, bro. Thanks. That was here with Bon, one of the serious shredders here at the local park, Ghost Station space.
Yeah.
Bon, how old are you and how long have you been skateboarding?
I'm 19 and I'm skating 7 years.
So how would you describe the skateboard community or the culture here in Ho Chi Minh City?
Ho Chi Minh City, we go street over 10 years. In 2022, we have a skate park. Right now, I'm think so good because we have a skate park.
And it's been a lot easier to progress.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite skateboarder or a favorite skate video?
My favorite skater is Kuti, is Vietnamese.
Let's
And is there
go.
anything else you
Never
want to
heard of
say
that
or
guy.
anyone you want to shout out or tell to YouTube?
No, nothing.
All good. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it.
That was my first time
Hit him with the no is sick. Maybe that was lost
ever
in
doing an
translation
interview
there.
like that, so I was a little awkward in case you couldn't tell, but shout out to the homie Bon for the insights. I really appreciate that. I felt pretty good this day, so I wanted to keep skating, and I did get some selfie clips, and I met the homie Dot right here. Super cool guy, super friendly, and he told me he has a sealed Pokemon Heart Gold with the Pokewalker, and I mean, that's fucking sick. He was hesitant for me
What is this? When I was a kid, I used to have a Pikachu, and it was a pedometer, and it would count your steps.
to film because he
But I
thought it would
didn't
take
have a
super long,
game
but then
one.
he pulled this out second try.
Damn.
Perfect. We traded phone numbers and caught a skate sesh again the next day. I really had an incredible time skating and chatting about life with Dot. Super cool and down-to-earth guy and genuinely one of the friendliest people I've ever met. I think it was this night I lay awake in my hotel room kind of anxious at the fact that I felt I really need to travel everywhere. And meeting Dot really sparked that flame in me. Also, I've never been somewhere more human than Ho Chi Minh City, so please excuse the swamp ass in some of those clips. Before the interview, can we get a W in the chat for how beautiful this scene is?
I'm here with Dot, one of the locals here who has been overwhelmingly nice and welcoming to me as a foreigner at this skate park and the city in general.
Welcome town.
Thank you. So Dot, how long have you been skateboarding for and what inspired you to
Dot
start
is a
skateboarding?
sick
I
name.
have skate for like 4 to 5 years, but I quit in the middle. I start,
happens.
I start like 2 years and then I quit and then I have to work 14 years long.
Wow.
And then I start again 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in Ho Chi Minh City for?
I was born here. Vietnamese people is kind of cool with it.
Yeah. They're cool.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
They
they're
think
cool
it's
with it.
cool.
Yeah. This new park was built by some like well-known skaters.
Yeah.
So I think it's helped a lot to improve this community here because the skateboard is like new in Vietnam. I think it just started around like 10 years back
Yeah.
and forth. Yeah.
So do you think people here at the local park
Wow, what
and
a
in
nice
Vietnam in
sunset.
general, the skateboarders are pretty welcoming when you come to the sesh? Like is that the general sort of practice or vibe?
They will come straight to you and then say hi.
Yeah, that's something I found here too, you know, that people are not afraid to say what's up and be friendly. And in New York City, like where I'm from, sometimes, you know, you're at the park, it's you and one other person and they just sort of cool guy you and give you the cold stare. So it's awesome and it really shows, you know, like you're a manifestation of that. And
Once you
I agree with that too. Is like, you go to a skate park, you and one other person are skating together. You go, oh hey, yeah, and they do a trick. You go, yeah. You interact. Like you can't help but interact. But I feel like in California that can happen. You go, they do a trick, you do a trick. No one says anything. No one looks at each other. No one claps. No anything. Just I am also here. You do trick. You do trick. What blows my mind in LA is people will do the hardest shit ever. People will be looking directly at it and they just go. They just don't even clap. Like to me, that's insane.
come and greet them, they will smile back, right?
yeah, usually. But sometimes there's just
they're good skaters.
yeah. Sometimes people are a little over their heads, but there's sometimes can be a little tension at the skate park, you know, with especially on the East Coast is what I found. Like New York and Florida and all of there. Do you have anything else you want to say to the people or anything you want to say about skateboarding or Vietnam or Ho Chi Minh City in general?
I hope you guys watch Tao and surprise him. He's a good guy. I love his energy.
Thank you, bro.
That's why I wish
Yeah.
him the best of luck.
My man. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much. Final question. Do you have a favorite skateboarder or a favorite skate video or a favorite crew that you watch on YouTube or elsewhere?
I love Lakai. I love Luis Mora.
Wow.
Cardano.
I didn't expect that.
I'll have to check it out.
Sora.
He doesn't know Cardano?
Yeah.
The Japanese, they're feeding them something different over there. They're all cracked out. So good at skating. Thank you, Dad.
The Go Station Space in Ho Chi Minh being the only public skate park they have really is the central hub of skateboarding in the city. You've also got Saigon Skate Shop right there next to the skate park. A final piece I'll say about the skate park is that around 7 p.m. on whatever day this was, all the skaters cleared out the park to make way for a beginner skate lesson, and I thought that was pretty wholesome. There's definitely a bit of a skate park problem over in Vietnam. In fact, my friend Matthias, who's making a cameo in about 20 minutes, made a whole video about it, so you can go check that out. Skate park problem aside, it does seem like there's a healthy amount of spots around Saigon, and the local skaters are there to show for it. The people here, super friendly and quite outgoing. After the skate sesh, I had a really great night meeting some locals out in the town. The overall vibe, phenomenal.
Macca's?
Humid as hell, but Saigon, Vietnam, a very
told you
special
guys,
place.
McDonald's is a
about
staple
800
of
kilometers
society.
away, and we're at our next destination.
For the next stop of our international skate tour, I'm at Red Bull Skate Park, in case it wasn't obvious, in Bangkok, Thailand. So I assume Red Bull or whatever company dumped a lot of money to have this thing made, and you don't have to pay to skate it, and it is
You gotta
sort of
rollerblade.
indoor, semi-indoor. I'm gonna warm up here, do a few tricks, and then we're gonna move on, see if we can find some other places to skate, and maybe a street spot. Let's go.
I set my phone up and did this back feeble, feeling like the lean Jamie Foy for a sec, then hit this Red Bull-inspired stiff front 3 before filming the homie Tony.
I feel like this guy's video is good, but I feel like some of the interviews and stuff, he could have just like took the most interesting things and made it like boom, boom, boom. Because 35 minutes is kind of long.
Perfect. I'm here with Tony, one of the locals at Red Bull Skate Park. He's telling me I should go to Pink Skate Park next, so that's where we're going.
So I started the session a little late in the day, and Tony was telling me it was going to be far too dark to skate Pink Skate Park or really anywhere else in the city at that moment. So we decided to get some dinner, and I managed to drag him out to the super touristy part of town where we saw some interesting stuff.
I got you on a Scorpion if you want one.
He also told me the locals here definitely do not eat that stuff. After a fun night where I learned that the Grab drivers go way faster than in Vietnam, we planned to meet up and skate the next morning, and I ran into a little bit of a problem.
All right, so last night when I went out for a smoke, I kind of left my board in front of the hotel, and it wasn't there this morning. So I think that also attests to the quality of the cannabis in Bangkok.
You lost it. What do you mean it wasn't there this morning? Of course it's not going to be there overnight.
I'm here at Produce Skate Shop. I just got a new setup with the local brand, local wheels.
Damn.
I've never skated an 8.5 before, and I've never skated anything other than a Spitfire
where's
for a
my
while.
board?
We're breaking this board in. I'm just happy to be here with Tony and getting a
Dude,
session. We're going to
Where's
skate
my
the park
board?
they have here, which
Dude, I don't know,
is
dude.
free to skate, some super cool obstacles, and then we'll hit some other spots and take you guys with us. Let's go.
You guys don't have to tell me how dumb I am, but yeah, let's hope that my board turns up, and comment below if you've ever lost
It's
your board or left
absolutely
it
not
somewhere.
gonna turn
I had
up.
some fun skating this park, but again, the heat and humidity in these parts of the world is just so much, especially for someone like me who runs hot to begin with. A lot of the locals don't even skate until the sun starts to go down, and I remember this session was really killing me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
After almost getting a heat stroke at Produce Skate Park, I got to meet Tony's fam real quick on FaceTime, and then we arrived at Pink Skate Park, which was luckily covered from the sun.
Did you say fan or fam?
Oh, no.
After almost getting a heat stroke at Produce Skate Park, I got to meet Tony's fam real quick on FaceTime, and then we
Okay,
arrived
I thought
at
he
Pink
said
Skate
fan.
Park,
I
which
was like, wait,
luckily
what?
covered from the sun. There were a bunch of little kids there that were actually shredding barefoot, which was super sick to see. And this kid was so nice as to give me a cough
Yo, what
drop.
up,
Shout out to-
Ethan? Mr. Rick, I just extended the ramp and need to know what you'd rate the backyard setup. If you get a chance, give it a view. Alright, sick. I'll check it out after this.
the locals. While the local children wrestled at the foot of the quarter pipe, Tony and I spent the hour getting clips. We met a couple other locals who were cool with me filming them, and I found that all the skaters and locals here were also very friendly once I went up to them and spoke to them, but at first some of them seemed a bit shy or to themselves. It's possible that I'm projecting a bit here though, because I was in a bit of a hyper-social mood during these times and just talking to every skater I met. Also, I did the best nollie heel of my life right here.
Yeah.
When Lil Bro in the jeans pulled up, I could just feel his aura, so I asked if I could get a clip of him as well, and then Tony and I got some lunch. Two things I'll say about the street spots. One is that in Thailand, I felt like there were so many perfect untouched spots all over the place, but security was extremely abundant, so that put a stop to a lot of those affordances before they even started. Two is that I know I'm not skating a whole lot of street in this video, but let's be real guys, this video is really about the people more than anything, and there's a far less chance of me meeting someone at a random street spot than at the skate park.
Hello, bro.
Here we are at Hallmark Indoor Skate Park. Tony and I got a couple of clips, and then the skate park apologist started to yap a little bit.
So this park is pretty sick. For me, definitely a good park as a rail skater. You got a bunch of different rails, different sizes and impacts to skate. I'm a little cooked from the day, so I'm not doing too much skating, but I'm gonna show you guys what's up. We've got huge rolling right there, as you can see.
Whoa!
Fair enough,
Mega
no
ramp.
problem. You can tell this park was really made for rollerbladers or rollerbladers, I think is the right term. It's free to skate, which is sort of rare. You know, indoor skate parks or parks like this in America or other places, usually they charge you a little bit. You can see if I
Yeah,
can roll in on
honestly,
this.
I don't think I've
Fine.
ever been to an indoor skate park that's free to skate. Very, very, very rare.
This one's
I don't think this is necessarily a rollerblade park. I think it's just like a little bit random. I guess there is a rollerblade.
not
there.
that depth, but this one definitely a little more sketchy. It kind of feels like resi. If you guys have ever been to Woodward, it's real soft.
Shut up, Woodward. Code Ricky.
Should I try the big one?
Although perhaps a bit shy, everyone in Thailand was super respectful. Like this rollerblader
Literally is
who
a
let me
mega
film some
ramp.
clips with him,
Damn!
and I mean, yo, that's crazy. It must feel insane to be able to do all this every try.
That's going to conclude the Thailand/Bangkok section of this video. A big shout out to my guy Tony, who has pretty much been my personal tour guide and filmer and all around great homie while I've been here. Tony, how long have you been skating and what made you start skating to begin with?
I have been skate like 3 years. Skateboarding make me like, if you have a problem or something, you want to go away from that,
Yeah.
I will go skate for that, bro.
Yeah.
So that's feel comfortable for me. So that is why I'm skate for this one.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's beautiful. I think that resonates with a lot of us skateboarders. Do you have a favorite skateboarder?
Yeah. Shout out to my man Jimmy Griffin, bro.
Jamie Griffin.
Damn,
A
the
slightly
GOAT.
controversial character across skateboarding, but not.
What? Controversial? How? Because he's undisputably the best? What do you mean controversial?
Jamie Griffin, a slightly controversial character across skateboarding, but nonetheless a very talented individual for sure.
Calling Jamie Griffin controversial is like, what do they call it? Subtle diss. I don't think he's controversial at all. In what way is he controversial?
So Tony is not originally from Bangkok. Tony, would you care sharing where you're from and what brought you to Bangkok?
Yeah, I'm from Burma, bro. The original one is Myanmar, bro. It's called Burma. Most of the people know Burma, bro. In Burma, there's a military here, bro, and they shot with each other, bro. With the rear gun, man. With the rear gun, they killing
Dang.
each other, bro. And then our country's situation is really bad. That is why we came here, bro.
Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff. It's a serious situation, you know. I have empathy for you, and I'm really praying, you know, all is well at home and all works out. Yeah, bro, thank you for sharing. And again, I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I think we're going to go to the pool now. And the next stop in our video, I don't even know where it's going to be, but you guys will find out in 2 seconds.
One more spot I had to hit before leaving this complex. Don't worry,
Damn.
guys. This is not the pool I was talking about. And it was way harder to pump this thing than it looked. So cut me some slack.
That looks
To
sick.
summarize Thailand, you've got plenty of stuff to skate between street and skate park. All of the local skaters I met here were super friendly, especially Tony and his Burmese friends who were treating me like family when we went out. And again, huge shout out to Tony. Even though we only knew each other for a few days, it felt like we had been friends for a long time. Tony, my brother, I'll see you soon. Also, the hotel ended up finding my old boards, so I went all the way to the international date line to give away my new oversized setup to my friend Josh. In
He got the
Christchurch,
board
New
back? Insane.
What's going on?
Zealand. Once in Christchurch, we stopped at Washington Way Skate Park.
Honestly, I've never been to New Zealand, so I'm kind of curious for this part. Like, I know not a lot of New Zealand people from Australia,
Honestly,
but I've
I
never
had a
been
great
there
time
to
skating
skate.
this park, and we filmed a lot of footage, which I thought was pretty good. Since this video is already getting kind of long, I decided to use that footage in its own video, which is pretty much just a skate park review and me chatting with the locals here. So if you want to see that, you can click the video in the corner right there. But let's see what the locals have to say about skateboarding in New Zealand.
You guys want to introduce yourself?
Hi, what's up? I'm Mo. I'm Oscar.
Try to tell the difference between
Perfect,
Australian
bro.
and New Zealand accent.
Yeah, so this is
I mean, it's been my local for like 3 months.
yeah. You think like the skate park here and the skate scene is strong, or like you think it makes it easy to progress and whatnot, or?
Oh, it's alright, yeah. Could be better.
Yeah. It's like,
Damn.
I don't know, different from Tokyo, but
yeah.
It's like a bit smaller. Everyone's chill. Everyone's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you skate here, it's like you're the homie. You know?
Yeah.
So that's
And you're from Japan originally, you said?
Tokyo city center.
And you guys have a favorite trick or a trick you think is illegal?
I reckon double flips are illegal. But my
Damn.
favorite trick right now, probably fakie heel on flat, nothing else. But
No, I agree with double flips. Double flips.
Damn, you guys don't f with double flips?
No
what about,
love.
What about a fakie double flip?
nah, if they catch
Hell
it,
nah.
they catch it.
Okay.
But it's like
What you guys think of pressure flips?
sometimes like if people do it, alright, it's good. But
What you think?
I don't know. I can't wrap my head around them.
You guys want to rate my pressure flip?
Oh, yo, come on.
Alright, let's see. I'm doing on the Euro. Fuck you mean, bro? I'm probably gonna do the most ass one ever now. Wait. I caught it a little weird, but. Yo, bro, you're from New Zealand though, right?
Yeah.
Fakey kickflip.
So we have one local and
one international.
two internationals, I guess. Yo, you have a favorite skater?
I don't know if you know him, Victor Pellegrin.
I'm not familiar, but I'm sure I'll have to check him out.
Hey, this guy's crazy, bro.
Damn.
No scare the homie, big ups.
That's your boy?
Nah, but I've skated with him a few times. He's so nice.
Bro, he's honestly one of my top 5. Like at some point I was definitely like, yo, he's my favorite skater. There's this clip of him doing a switch 180 into this bank like to set up for another trick, and something about it is just like, oh my god.
He's like probably one of the nicest skaters I've ever met.
Yeah.
That's why, bro.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Fuck yeah.
Honestly, I thought the skate park was super sick. It was really big, had obstacles for all sorts of different skaters. Shout out to the homies Oscar and Mo for letting me interview them. And I swear I was gonna skate some street in New Zealand, but I actually rolled my ankle on some grass when I was out that same night,
no.
so I couldn't really skate the rest of my trip. I'm doing my best to give a comprehensive view of these places without generalizing too much across the entire country, because I know the scene can change a lot from region to region. But the people in New Zealand as a whole, even outside of the skate park, were all friendly and super laid back about life, reminiscent of Australia where it seems like everyone's just chilling, happy, and friendly.
We have
Washington Way A+ skate park in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's culture in New Zealand and Australia. I feel like it's pretty much the same. Maybe some minor stuff, but overall, pretty much
Josh
the same.
tells me that there are more skate parks in Christchurch, but that the street skating is better in Auckland, so I'll take his word for it. Mo thinks the Christchurch skate scene is decent, but could be better, and as big as that is, I do think it's a fair evaluation, but as we're about to see, it could be a lot worse. After a quick 25 hours of travel back to the US and some time to let my ankle heal up, we continue the world tour in Illinois with my dad, where I make a brief stop at Grant Skate Park, get smoked on the handrail, and then drive to Freeport, Illinois, the town where my dad was born and raised. Freeport has only got one skate park, which clearly was designed by someone who doesn't have a clue about skating.
Yeah, these are all the fried. So like you don't see these
That's not to say some of the obstacles
level of
weren't pretty
fried
cool.
parks in Australia as much.
The town has no local skate shop and a virtually non-existent skate scene that left me
grew
wondering,
up in
if I
Illinois,
grew up
hell
here,
yeah.
like my dad, would I have ever started skating? That's a scary thought. Although not exactly a hotspot for skating, I did want to show that in some way or another, there are places to skate everywhere, and Freeport was a nice transition to the next stop, Des Moines, where I got to visit the biggest skate park in the USA. I decided to make an entirely separate video touring Lauridsen Skate Park, hitting all the obstacles, and dissecting all the hidden lore that I found from the Cancel Lauridsen Instagram account. So if you're interested in any of that, you can once again click the link in the corner. But to give a brief summary, Lauridsen is an Olympic grade skate park coming in at a whopping 88,000 square feet, and there really is just
Man. Olympic grade. Ugh. Bro, if you're talking to other skaters, never say that. If you're talking to non-skater, sure. Olympic grade, Olympic level standard. Never say that to a skater. Though.
summary.
Hell
Lauridsen
no.
is an Olympic grade skate park
It is
coming
a
in at
big
a whopping
skate park with a
88,000
ball.
square feet, and there really is just about any and every feature you could want or imagine at a skate park. I thought this segment would function
A
as
good contrast to show, when I was just in Illinois, they had a park where clearly they had no idea what they were talking about. Here they really, this is an S-tier
Yeah,
skate
I'm
park,
gonna try to actually
let's be
sound
real.
this way.
Just goes to show the contrast, even just state to state, a couple hours away, what you can find.
Des Moines does have this incredible skate park, but there aren't a whole bunch of other parks in the area, and my friend Benny tells me that usually people go on road trips when it comes to skating street. Let's hear what he has to say about trick selection.
Okay, my favorite trick to do, I'd say, is a hard flip that I like seeing. Probably a kick flip front board or back tail. Those are, or back three. Back three is,
Yeah, back threes
threes
are
Solid
so-
choices.
When they're steezy, yeah. They're,
And an illegal trick?
man, I used to play a lot of legal tricks. I felt like,
You're telling me, bro.
man, I used to do like the double flip pretzels.
Oh my god.
Oh!
Remember, like, I mean,
Oh my god.
I feel like
That
those
definitely
were
is
pretty
illegal.
illegal.
Pretzels are pretty-
That's pretty bad.
The few other locals I met at Lauridsen Skate Park were nice people. One guy complimented my GHT, so that was cool. And when it comes to the general vibe, it's pretty mellow out here, as you may think. Definitely a step up from Freeport, but doesn't compare at all to what I would argue is the US hotspot for skateboarding, California. Our first stop in California is Linda Vista Skate Park in San Diego,
I've
where I'm
never
meeting
been
up with the homie Evan. This was our first time meeting in person after following each other on Instagram since the golden days of trap edits back in 2017. And if my memory serves me right, we were a lot closer to the same skill level back then than we are now because bro is an absolute beast on a skateboard.
What's your favorite trick to do on the bumper rail?
Probably from blunt.
Sometimes I dream that I could have been this good if I lived in Cali and didn't spend the last 9 years obsessing over different women, but that's not to take away from the
What the
undeniable
heck?
time and effort that Evan has put in on his board.
Do you have a favorite skate park you've ever skated?
Well, we're out right now.
Yeah.
I can
can
see
tell.
that.
All these clips literally took between 1 and 4 tries and he barely even broke a sweat. This line was my favorite and the mastery and control of this last one really broke my neck.
Nothing with you. Oh!
Anyway,
Back
shout out
boost
to the
and
homie
reverb?
Evan. Give him a follow on Instagram if you like to watch skateboarding. On my way out of town the next morning, I stopped by Pood's Skate Park, which was probably...
Okay, finally, I guess this is the second one that I've been to. I booked a trip to San Diego. I've never been. San Diego's nice. San Diego's much nicer than LA. This park is sick. This park is always good vibes.
A follow on
And it's
Instagram if
so
you like
big.
to watch skateboarding.
I feel like this
On
is
my
probably
way out
the
of
best
town
skate park
next
in the
morning,
world.
I stopped by Pood's Skate Park, which was probably at the all-time top of my list for skate parks I wanted to visit, and surprisingly, I found it kind of underwhelming. But as I drove from San Diego to LA, I stopped at a park that I enjoyed way more than I anticipated. Centennial Skate Park, which many may know as the gifted hater YSL One Stop. In case it wasn't obvious, I'm a little bit of a
Rick mentioned kind of, because I was in YSL 1. This park is like, okay. I wouldn't say it's anything special. I think it's absolutely insane to say Poods is bad and this is good. Like, this is just mid-level fried park, whereas Poods is like actually like literally I think it's the best in the whole
GH
world.
fanboy, so I just had to stop here, and honestly I had so much fun skating this park, and it definitely had a different feel than the quote-unquote perfect new age skate parks. My only complaint here was that I wish I could have skated longer, but we have more ground to cover.
We're here at Stoner Park in Los Angeles. The infamous, or maybe just famous, all right, we can call it infamous, A-frame gap that everyone does their trick on, it seems like.
If you ever come to California and want to meet pros, go to this park. I feel like here you see a lot of pros.
I'm gonna see if I
I'll
can
go
do
to
a couple
Cherry as
tricks
well.
and maybe I'll pressure flip it because it sort of is asking me to. I came here
What's my
5 years
fave in
ago.
CA or
Same
in
feeling
LA?
when I came here the first time. It's a lot bigger than I remember it.
I don't really like Stoner that much.
Oh my god, I swear I almost clipped, bro. Alright, I'm gonna try pressure flip. You buy me a Gatorade if I do it first try?
Bro, I'll buy you dinner if you do it first try.
Really? That means a lot to an unemployed man. I almost ate shit just rolling in.
I saw it.
I've like played at this park on a video game and just seen it everywhere. What's up?
Fave park in Cali? I guess I go with Poods then. The one that he said was underwhelming. In LA. Okay, can I go Santa Clarita? But that's more for the vibe than like the actual layout.
I thought maybe for a second.
Nah, I got a little scared.
Clean with it.
Damn, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared as fuck to do that. I'm kinda glad it-
Watts is my all-time most hated skate park that I will never return to ever again.
Worked out second try. But that's for everyone who thinks I can't pressure flip like that on command too. Except they should know by now after that.
I mean, El
Australia
Serena
flip.
is okay. Like, well, it's good, but I feel like it's overhyped a little bit.
I remember last time I came here, I was just starting to boardside handrails. And I was like, why did they make this rail so ridiculously tall? Let's see. So tall, bro, for no reason. Yeah, no slider. Seems like the safest option. First try for a Gatorade.
Board slide
I
is
want
definitely
Gatorade.
safer than no
Gatorade.
slide, I promise you.
It'll curse my try.
I mean,
No
that's
slide
definitely
is,
gonna help you.
depending how he does it, is more
Motherfucker looks
sketch.
tall.
They could have made it so fun if it was like a little shorter.
Nice.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, I don't really want to do another trick. I have no need to push my luck.
I've skated like 20
It's
years.
your turn now, bro.
I don't even know when the last time was. If I do nightmare flip first try, I want a Gatorade, bro.
I'll buy you 2 Gatorades if you nightmare flip first try, bro.
This is my good friend Jose, who I went to college with. He was gracious enough to let me
Yeah.
crash on his couch in LA for 2 nights, so shout out to him for that. During college, he would always ask to try a trick on my board and then just spam nightmare flips. And he grew up skating in Madrid, but doesn't really skate anymore. And the culmination of all those
Damn,
details,
he's
plus
flipping
him
it
trying nightmare
fast.
flips at the skate park in sweatpants, is just so pure to me.
Yeah.
That's so terrible, bro. Come on, nah, that was good.
There were 3 things that stuck out to me in California, and all 3 were things I noticed when I visited 9 years ago. First off, when it comes to stuff to skate, especially in San Diego, LA, and San Francisco, there was so much to choose from, both park and street. My biggest problem was really deciding where I shouldn't go. So that's a pretty nice champagne problem to have. Second, when I compare California to my home of New York, and sit tight because you're all coming home with me in about 90 seconds. The people in California I found to be way more approachable and friendly, and I even noticed this when I was a 14-year-old there with my red helmet. People were nice to me, and it was kind of shocking.
Bro loves pressure flips. Why does he love him so much?
I even noticed this when I was a 14-year-old there with my red
helmet. He really
helmet.
loves
People
him,
were
huh?
nice to me, and it was kind of shocking. Lastly, I have to address everyone's skill level. And again, this is my personal observation when it comes to New York versus California in particular. The average skateboarder in California just seems to be at a higher caliber than that of New York City. And I definitely saw some pro skateboarders in Stoner Park, both this time around and when I visited in 2014. The vibes in Cali are great. You have the beach, perfect weather every day, and anything and everything you could want to skate. In terms of skateboarding, there's not much to complain about. I was super excited to skate everything SF had to offer, but I blew my ankle out the first day there, and it sent me into a little bout of depression, as per usual when I get a skate injury. Then I flew to Vancouver to visit the homie Roy, who I met in a study abroad program a few years ago. Here were some parks and spots I would have skated, so you can just imagine me doing a backside Smith grind or a pressure flip or something. After a week of vacation in Vancouver, it was time
I can
for me to
imagine
come
the
back
pressure
home.
flip.
Back home in New York City, I'm joined by my Danish and Canadian friend Matthias, who has been on the road traveling and skating for almost a year now, thus making him a valuable source in answering our big question. We started today at Chelsea Piers, or Pier 62 skate park. This is perhaps one of the lesser known parks in the city, but for people who skate heavy transition, they know what's up. And although it's been about 6 weeks since SF, my ankle is still not quite ready for actual skating. After Chelsea, we push through the streets and end up at, you'll have to forgive me, Washington Square Park, which used to be a far better spot before they put up these planners in what I think was 2021. Now most people just skate these ledges, the flat ground.
I remember someone mentioned this in a thing, saying only like, they say, don't go there, it sucks.
Inside or into the fountain, depending on the season and depending on the skill level of the skater. Leaving Wash behind, as I wish we all could, we arrive at Tompkins Square, which has risen from the ashes as perhaps
like this. Like, is this a good, like, I'm not trying to hate on New York too much, right? But like, is this a good park? Because when I look at this, I think it's absolutely not good in any way. Is this like, yeah, let's go to this park? Like, hell yeah, let's go here. This does not look good at all.
perhaps the hottest place to skate in the city right now.
The hottest place. Is that true? Looks like a decent DIY. This guy just said this is the best skate park.
They literally had 0 obstacles here, but in recent years they've
like, wow.
down the ground and slowly added more and more stuff to skate as it grows into something of an actual skate park. Continuing our trek down Manhattan, we hit some dusty street spots. Matthias helps me film the intro for this video, and we do some skate tourism around all of the well-known spots before we wrap things up.
I'm here with Mr. Solo Skate Travel himself. Could you introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're from and what you've been doing the last couple months?
Yeah, so my name is Matthias. I'm originally from Denmark, but the past 10 months or so I've been traveling to pretty much 20 different countries, mainly out in Southeast Central Asia and a lot of Eastern Europe as well. Now I'm out here in the US with my boy Tal, but...
Right, so I guess now I'll ask you the questions I've been asking myself at all the places I've traveled. How would you rate the New York skate culture based on our 3 criteria?
I'd personally consider New York City to be like a mecca in the skate world, you could almost say. It kind of has that Barcelona-esque vibe, especially in the summer. I feel like there's spots everywhere. It's super easy to get around.
And did you mention too, you thought it was the most like skatable city?
But see, like, I thought Barcelona is like, hey, there's spots everywhere and they're perfect. I thought New York was, hey, there's spots everywhere and they're crust. And yeah, everything's crusty. And we're learning how to dodge the cars in the crust.
More so than some of the places you've been, or?
Honestly, it's definitely up there with most skatable cities, for sure.
Yeah, I think Manhattan is really, you can get to a lot of different spots and a lot of different parks just from skating around 5 minutes here,
you like
5 minutes
his
there.
tattoo?
Definitely. There's skate parks everywhere. There's so many of them. There's a lot of street spots here too. And I feel like there's, not a lot of things are skate stopped out here. I was actually kind of expecting more things to be skate stopped. Obviously, spots come up, spots get removed.
Right.
That's just the way of life.
So what are you thinking in terms of local people and the general vibe of the place?
Dude, my experience with the locals, everybody's been super nice out here. It's definitely, it can be a little bit cliquey in terms of, the locals and everything. Mm-hmm. Depends on where you skate, for sure. Right. But can't really avoid something like different cliques and stuff in skating when you're in such a massive city that has all these different crews, and there's all these different levels of skating out here too.
Right.
I would compare this place to kind of like a city such as like Sydney or Melbourne out in Australia.
What the heck? Comparing, I feel like you should compare Melbourne to New York, not New York to Melbourne.
But honestly, other than that, everybody that I've run into out here is super friendly and super nice. You know, I'm kind of out here couch surfing, and the locals have been hooking it up, and everybody's been super nice to me. I haven't really felt cool guide out here, so that's a huge plus. Yeah, my general experience of the locals is really good.
That's interesting, and honestly, I feel that way too. I know in the intro, I sort of baited it a little, like New York is really sort of aggressive and whatever it might be, but I think I felt that a lot, especially growing up and being a little kid, like with all the older people and the cliques that were, you know, sometimes some people nicer than others, but obviously you have nice people and you have mean people everywhere, like in all the places I've spoke of. I'm thinking of one instance in Australia. There were these two guys at the park with Hamish and I, and they were kind of being assholes. But like, I think what I'm trying to do is two guys.
He says,
at the park
but at the same time,
Hamish
everyone
and
else
I,
was
and they
nice, so he's kind of like backpedaling it. But this sounds very typical.
I'm thinking of one instance in Australia. There were these two guys at the park with Hamish and I, and they were kind of being assholes. But like, I think what I'm trying to say is you have people like this everywhere. And I think also the skate culture at a given place really sort of echoes the general culture of the place around it. So, you know, in New York City, everyone's super hustle and bustle. There's real emphasis on individualism. And I think, you know, that inevitably trickles down into the skate community. Might be why some people at the local parks, you know, didn't want to talk to me as a kid, or were sort of like, you know, this annoying kid with the helmets in the way or whatever it might be. But now, especially skating around with you this week, I think everyone's been really nice, and it's been refreshing.
Tail grab,
almost.
that's illegal.
Like I'm falling in love with my city again.
Dude, I'm stoked for you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to say, like, been to cities and places where like the skate community or the skate scene, you could call it, is like super small. That almost feels like a family, you could say. You know, there's like 40-year-olds skating with 16-year-olds,
Right.
and they're all just on the same session, enjoying skating for what it is at the end of the day. And you could almost call those skate scenes a bit more diverse in terms of the age or wherever people come from. Like we were talking about before with the cliques and everything, people kind of find their group, find who they want to skate with.
So you think it's a bit more mixed in some of these places where the skate scene is smaller, like it's a lot of,
for sure,
everyone hanging out instead of a bunch of little cliques?
For sure.
That's interesting, yeah. So do you think skateboarding is different across the world?
I would definitely say so. A place like New York, skating's been so developed over, you know, decades upon decades. You have countries like Nepal, for instance, where I spent a good amount of time out there.
Oh my God,
and
that's
skating is just now becoming like a bigger thing. They just got their first skate park out in Kathmandu. And Skate Aid Nepal is doing a lot of good things out there.
I've seen the clips. The kids are going crazy.
Kids are progressing like crazy, you know, because skating is still such a new thing out there. There's a lot of parents and people that don't really understand skating, and they don't really understand all the benefits from it, and they just kind of see it for like when you just look at somebody skating down the street or whatever, doing a trick and falling a bunch of times, you know, they believe that all you really get from skating is getting hurt, or they see it as a toy and not so much all the psychological benefits that we sort of recognize it for out here, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, that's just like a single example, but you know, it sums it up in terms of countries where skating is still in like a very developing phase.
I think what you're trying to say too, I guess, is like every country is different, and inevitably, you know, every culture, every country.
It says, obviously you can't say skateboarding is same around the world because every country is different in terms of culture, level of infrastructure, resources, and topography. All crucial factors in cultivating
it's
a
going
skate
to be
scene.
different for skateboarding or whatever it might be. Well, thank you for the wisdom and for being part of the video. I'm going to go back to my bedroom and see if I can collect my thoughts.
Matthias tells us that skateboarding is strikingly different across the world, and while he's right, you could make the argument for both sides. Perhaps what I'm about to say is trivial and cliche, but there really is something to be said about skateboarding traversing any sort of language, cultural, or identity barriers. And skateboarding is a language in itself. Like, a backside flip is called a backside flip pretty much everywhere. And I'm not saying that all skateboarders like all skateboarders, because we know that's not the case, but that shared love for pushing down the street, taking slams, and just doing something that's super fun is more than enough to bring people together, as we've seen all across this video. And I think that's it. Comment below where your favorite place in the world to skate is, and thanks for watching.
Next up, Estonia. Yeah, shout out to this guy. He made a good video. I'm pretty sure he's like a new creator, and like this, he made this over what, like the course of like months, you know. So I think if he keeps making videos like this, he'll be successful. Look, that did pretty good for his small channel, got 13k views. Oh, he did another one 2 weeks ago. So yeah, he's grinding. I think that was well made. I would have made it a little bit shorter. I would have done less, because like he's trying to build up his personal brand, right? I would do more focus on him and less focus on the other people. So like in each city, I would have just got the other people to talk like a tiny, or like I would film them talking a lot, but then they would only take the like good stuff rather than like asking everyone what's your favorite trick, what's your illegal trick. I would have just took bits of some rather than playing everything. But yeah, that was sick. Shout out to this guy. I think he will continue to do well. That was a well-made video. There's not really a video like that, to be honest.